Hi guys, good evening. Welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video I will be doing my episode review and recap for episode 3 of season 1 of AMC's Fear the Walking Dead. Now before I go on, of course, with all of my review and recap videos, this will be full of big spoilers, so if you're not caught up on Fear the Walking Dead, I would advise you not to continue watching or listening to this video. You have been warned. That being said, this episode, how do I put this? This episode almost felt like, it was kind of like the what were they thinking episode. And it's like, okay, because it's like Madison and her kids sneak over next door because Nick remembers their neighbor has a gun, a shotgun. They get the gun, retrieve it. They see somebody enter their house, their reanimated neighbor, unaware he's a walker. And they head back, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh no, where's the medicine? Where are the pills? I'll send my younger sister alone to go get the medicine. Hopefully nothing will go wrong. It's like this whole episode, I kept thinking to myself about these characters. I'm like, what were they thinking exactly? Like, what made you decide to do that? But I don't know. I might be overthinking that, but overall, interesting episode. Not surprisingly, they had to escape the barber shop once they felt the wall was starting to get hot, as if the other side of the wall was on fire. And of course, the rioters broke in, and of course. It shows the LAPD clashing with the rioters and the looters. And then it's like an LA riot, but you throw zombies in the mix, which makes it even crazier and more intense, because we see a SWAT trooper get taken down by a walker, and a walker's just biting on his neck. Oh yeah, there's another moment right there. Another WTF moment are you thinking? Like, WTF are you thinking moment. It's like, Chris stands there, Travis's son, he stands there, he's like admiring it, not admiring it, but he's just gawking at it like, huh? Hey dad, check this out. It's like, come on, what are you doing, dude? Get out of there, run. It's complete pandemonium and panic. Get the hell out of there. Don't stand around staring at a walker chewing on somebody. There will be plenty of time for that later. But, it was a pretty good escape scene because, we see Travis, his ex, their son, and then the family they took refuge with. They all escape. Unfortunately, the elderly woman, Senora Salazar, Grisella, they called her, I believe. Yeah, Grisella. She is kind of lags behind, and unfortunately, in this construction platform thing that the rioters are like, playing monkey bars on and shit like that, they just make it rock back and forth until finally, it collapses like a wall on them, and unfortunately her foot gets caught and crushes her leg, and our characters go back for her, and they manage to lift it off of her, but now they've got an injured party in their group, so now that only adds to the conflict, and it adds to the stakes. The stakes are raised even higher because now they've got somebody who's injured in their group, making escape more difficult. And then I was watching with my family, and my cousin pointed out how it seemed so lucky that their pickup truck had remained parked there, unstolen or undestroyed, because they get to Travis's pickup truck, and sure enough, it's right there. It's fine without a scratch on it. But I guess that's because, originally in the last episode when Travis and his ex arrived to find their son, they parked away from the protest between the LAPD and the protesters, so they parked away from the initial incident scene, and with the riots, increasing, it hadn't hit that parking area, fortunately, that street, so they managed to get away, and as they realize, oh, well, we have to go to the hospital to take care of this poor lady's leg. They're driving along, and the hospital, of course, is under siege. Well, not necessarily under siege, but is on lockdown. The cops are directing traffic for people to keep moving, to keep going, and it looks like they gunned down several reanimated patients. There's like 2 or 3 walkers in hospital patient attire, and they shoot like this one old guy, kind of looks like a Santa in hospital patient attire is what he looked like, because he had long hair, long white beard. They shoot this guy like 4 or 5 times in the chest until finally somebody gets a headshot and he goes down. But it was another demonstration of these characters figuring out what kills these things. And of course, as far as they're concerned, they're not things, they're living people. And what's interesting about the opening of this episode is that we see this daring escape pulled by this one group of characters, and then our other group of characters are safe and snug inside their house, and it's Madison, Nick, and Alicia, and they're playing a game of Monopoly. It's like they've boarded themselves in the house, and they're just waiting for Travis and the others to show up, and to kill the time they're playing Monopoly in the dark. You know, the lights keep coming on and off, and the power grid keeps going on and off. And actually, we see the whole city, the whole entire city of Los Angeles go completely dark as they're driving along the street after they drive by the overrun hospital. Travis and everybody in the pickup, they just look over the landscape and they see all the lights just going down, just shutting off all over the city. And there are fires burning in a couple of spots. Basically, the city is falling. I'm not saying has fallen yet. I think it will fall by the end of this first season. But, the city is definitely falling. It's at that brink of destruction. So, and our characters are realizing that. And it just flabbergasted me. These two, these two scenes, like the constant cutting back and forth between one group of characters and the other. One group makes a daring escape in the middle of a riot infested with walkers. The other group is safe and sound in their home, waiting for the others to return, and to kill time they're playing Monopoly. I was like, wow, really? It's like you don't have more pressing things to address, or things that are on your mind you should be concerned about? Like, what exactly is the next move when the others return? Where are you going? Are you sticking to your plan of going out to the desert? Or are you going to refortify your house or something? And you're killing time playing Monopoly. Okay. But, when the power goes off, that's when Nick is like, hey, let's go get the gun from our neighbor next door, because I remembered he has a shotgun or something. Oh, okay. And for some reason, between their two houses is this complex, almost like a maze, this makeshift homemade garden maze or something, and they have to crawl through that to get to their neighbor's house. They get to the house, and they leave their back door open. Oh, yeah, that's another thing that drove me crazy. Why would you leave your door open, your back porch door open? I mean, I get it. You let inside a nice stray dog, a German Shepherd. You let in a local dog. But you don't close the door when you leave? Come on, guys. Use your brains. Then again, as much as I may criticize the characters not thinking clearly or logically, the creators, the executive producers, and the writers of this show have said that our characters are totally unprepared and, unprepared and just totally caught off guard in everything that's going on around them. So I think this first season is about them learning to adapt. And what I think was really good about this episode is that the only two people who get what's happening or kind of understand what's happening so far is the junkie and the old man. Because the old barber shows up just in time to save Travis from being attacked by his reanimated neighbor. And Travis, even though he knows things aren't quite right with these sick people, because he's trying to talk to his neighbor, Peter is the walker who gets into the house while Madison and her kids are next door. And unfortunately, he chews on the dog for a while. But the old man manages to shoot him in the face twice, actually. And the second shot is what actually blows his head off. And it completely repulses everybody, especially young Chris, who just can't seem to stomach what he just watched. So he leaves. And then the old man is later showing Nick how to properly load the shotgun and which bullets to use, which Travis is completely against. And that kind of surprises me, because I figured as a sensible man, in fact, one of the most sensible characters on the show so far, he would want his son to know how to defend himself, but apparently he's got an issue with guns. But at the same time, well, that's fine, you have your stance on guns, but at the same time, the world is going to shit, and you need to be prepared to defend yourself, which is what the old man basically says to him. He's like, the boy should know how to properly handle a rifle. And then when they observe their dead neighbor, this woman who's reaching through the fence, the one that chased Alicia back to their house, he even points, like, they're like, what's wrong with her? Why won't she respond and stuff like that? He's like, she's dead. And then Travis is like, why would you say that? Because Alicia then realizes, she has a horrible realization. my boyfriend, Matt. Oh my God, this is probably what he's turned into. No, 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 not Matt. This didn't happen to Matt. This didn't happen to Matt. Of course, she gets all riled up because she realizes that her boyfriend has probably turned by this point and is now like their neighbor who's a walker reaching through the fence like, ah. And basically, my point is that it's not a good sign when the junkie is right, because Nick the junkie says she's dead, and he's absolutely right. Their reanimated neighbor is dead, and nobody else seems to realize that. I think it's slowly settling with both Travis and Madison, but all the other characters are still completely oblivious as to what is actually happening to these people, that they're not sick, but they're the living dead now. And Nick seems to get it, and the old man seems to get it because he knows how to handle a shotgun properly, but he's also quite stubborn, insisting that his cousin is coming to pick him, his wife, and his daughter up, but his daughter keeps on insisting that they need to stay with this other family, they need to stick together. And it seems like the young woman, Sophia is starting to get it. She's starting to realize we are going to need more people around us in order to survive whatever is going on. We may not understand the nature of this crisis and what's to come, but the point is we are going to need people to help us and support us and protect us, and vice versa. And she's quickly figuring out, she's getting to that survival mentality, or that mode saying, we need people. There's safety in numbers. And she's trying to get that through to her parents, but her mom, who is fortunately bandaged up, but according to Travis's ex, who is currently or was attending nursing school, the infection is going to get in her blood, the infection from the wound on her leg when the structure crushed it, and they need to get her to a real doctor. But at the same time, Travis keeps on insisting they need to leave, like get out of the city altogether. But the old man insists that he and his family will stay behind for their cousin to show up. But overall, our characters had some questionable moments in tonight's episode, but at the same time, they're completely unaware and not knowledgeable at all as to what's going on and what's happening around them. Some of them are starting to get it, but at the same time, I think others are in serious denial as to what's happening and what's going on. So, but I think they're going to get it eventually. But it also at the same time, it's like, don't you understand? This isn't like a typical disease or virus. This person is already dead. You don't have to feel bad about killing them because they're already dead. That's why Madison was thinking about killing her old neighbor Susan, who is a good friend of hers, but Travis kind of talks her out of it, saying, we don't know necessarily that there's not a cure for this. We don't know exactly what's wrong with her. And it's if he's trying to protect his girlfriend from committing a horrible act, but at the same time, it's that denial thing I was talking about, saying he doesn't want to believe that this woman is actually dead and is still reaching through the fence trying to get at them. And so our characters begin to leave. They take the pickup and their car. Travis, his ex-wife, and their son are in the pickup with a ton of supplies. Madison and her kids are in their car. And the Salazar family has remained behind in order for the old man's cousin to come pick him up if he's even coming. Because the old man seems determined if they get back to their house, he can find a doctor and bring him to come treat his wife. But his daughter keeps insisting that that's most likely not going to happen, and they need to stick with the others. But right as they're about to leave, that's when they notice that their other neighbor just gets home. The man whose wife was the walker reaching through the fence, the one who was Madison's friend. And Madison feels so bad for him that she's like, he can't come home and find his wife like this. No way. No way, absolutely no way, no how. She stops the car, turns around, and heads back. She's like, Patrick, it's not Susan anymore. It's not Susan. He's like, honey, I'm home. I tried calling, but the cell line was down, and I drove all the way up from Salt Lake City. Oh, what's happened to you? He's like, she's just sick. And, he's reaching for her as if he's going to hug her, but she's reaching for him as well. And her mouth and her head are already positioned like she's going to bite him. It's like, ah. And then all of a sudden, a shot rings out and she goes down. A direct, clean headshot. And at first I thought, oh, good. The old man must have kept the rifle and saw what was happening through the window and shot her. Nope. it's the National Guard or the Army or one or the other, but it's the U.S. Armed Forces have arrived on the scene, and they quickly pull the guy away from his now dead wife. And they basically ask Travis and Madison, who lives in the house, who are all its occupants. And it seems like they've blocked them in their neighborhood. Their military jeeps and vehicles are surrounding the neighborhood, and it looks like they don't intend to let anybody leave. So now our main characters, even though they're all reunited and stuck together, now seem to be trapped in their own neighborhood. And what's interesting is that the old man comments to his injured wife, it's already too late, when they talk about leaving. And interestingly enough, he looks out the window and he sees, a soldier with a spray paint can going to a house. And I wonder if he's marking the house as clean or clear, as if there's no walkers or dead inside, or if he's just marking it as available for vacancy for the soldiers to rest in. Because it looks like the soldiers are in no hurry to leave, and our characters certainly can't leave now because their cars are parked back in the driveway, and they're now all stuck in the house together. So overall, very good episode. Really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen later. I wonder if we're going to see some of the nasty, true, dark nature of humanity be revealed. Maybe these soldiers aren't all that they seem to be, or maybe they'll still show us how uneducated our characters are about the zombie apocalypse. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in here on the EdWord for all of your episode recap and review needs. Don't forget to subscribe and like and comment on this video. What were your thoughts and opinions about tonight's episode? What did you like about it? Did you think it could have been better, or were you confused by certain moments or scenes? Please feel free to sound off below. Let's be respectful of one another's opinions, of course. And above all, thanks for tuning in and supporting the EdWord, and stay subscribed for more upcoming content and videos. Have a great night, everybody, and of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.